And having been a digital marketing trainer, having given over 1,000 sessions in the past couple of years only in digital marketing and more, um, I'm excited to speak about domain names. So let's talk about domain names. You might have heard the name domain names. You might have seen, if you live in India, you might have definitely seen an advertisement on television channels such as GoDaddy. I know brands such as GoDaddy promoting and saying things and basically talking about domain name. And you might be wanting to know, what does a domain name really mean? So in this particular talk and this particular conversation, I'm trying to share with you, I'm trying to explain, I'm trying to make you understand the concept of a domain name. So what is a domain name, guys? So before we get on to that, before we get on to the technical aspects of domain name, why not begin with a much simpler aspect? Guys, I'm sure if you have an offline business, and if you have an offline business, you might be aware of this word called office. Everyone has an office. Now, no matter what, no matter if two offices are in the same building, even then the office number, if you have flats and flat numbers, everything is unique. So no two offices can have the same physical address, right? The office address will be different. So just like every office has a different address, just like every office has a physical address, similarly, when you are going digital, when you're going online, things like Digital India, Startup India, COVID times has made Indians, has made a lot of professionals, a lot of businesses, a lot of startups have, they have to come online now. And because of this particular thing, we'll be speaking about domain name. So what is a domain name? Before we get onto that, a quick overview. Every shop has a physical address. Similarly, just like you have a dukan, just like you have an office, in the online world, in the digital world, you have something. You have something called as a website. Now we can consider your website as your online dukan, as your online, basically platform, online store, wherein you're selling products or maybe you're selling services, right? So either of these things you're doing. You're selling products or maybe you're selling services, you're doing something along those lines. Now, if you have a store, if you have a business, if you have a product, if you have a service, just like in the physical world, you will have a shop or you will have an office. Similarly, in the online world, you will have a website. Now, just imagine if you want to open a physical store, a physical office, you need to buy a space, right? You need to buy a space. Now, maybe you can buy the space or maybe you can rent the space. There are two options. There are two options, guys. You can either buy a space or you can rent a space. So in the offline world, in the physical world, you can either buy a space or you can rent a space. In the online world, there is something similar. If you want to start your online business, if you want to start your online product, online website, online store, then you need an address. Now, what is that address called? That address, ladies and gentlemen, that unique address of your website, of your online store, of your online dukan will be called, will be referred as the domain name. For example, I'll share in the chat box my website's link, right? So you guys will get an understanding how it looks. For example, I've posted my website's link, www.vankykataria.com, right? Now this is a domain name, Vanky Kataria. That's a domain name. All right. Now I have brought this domain name. It's like just like you have to pay money to buy the space for the office, right? The office space. Similarly, you have to pay money to buy this domain name. How much does it cost? We'll discuss that maybe later. But what is this domain name? This domain name indicates this is like the online address of the website, online address of the online dukan, online address of the physical, online address of the store, which is there online. Now this domain name, okay, this domain name is brought on rent for us. We basically buy this domain name for rent. For example, in the offline world, you can either buy the space, buy the office space, or rent it. But in the online world, you actually have to rent these domain names. Okay, so every year, or maybe after every 2 years, or after every 5 years, you have to renew this domain name. For example, let's say I like this word, called Banki Kataria Digital, and I want to have a domain name bankikatariadigital.com. So I'll go on the internet. All right, I'll go on the internet. I'll do this. Let me share my screen with you. So hopefully you guys will be able to see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Just let me know if you can, and I'll share with you. I'll share my screen. Let's say I go to GoDaddy. All right, you might have heard about GoDaddy. Just let me know if you guys can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? And let me know in the comment section. So I'll go to GoDaddy. Oh, there's a D missing. Now what I'll do is, uh, just give me a minute. Yes. So thank you for waiting, guys. And yeah. So hopefully you'll be able to see my screen, right? Oh, Adeshi is present. Adeshi, thank you so much for letting me know. And you can see my screen. So now what I'll do now is I'll find my perfect domain name, as GoDaddy says, or I can go to any platform. I have GoDaddy, or maybe I have another platform called Namecheap. This is one more platform. So what you need to do is all you need to do is simply click on the link which is given in the description. I'll just put the link once again for the people who have joined right now. What you can do is just click on the link given in the chat section or in the description section. I'll click on that particular link, okay? And once I click on that link, for now I'll just copy paste that link. You guys can simply click on it, and boom. Now what happens is, let's just wait for the website to open. Now this Namecheap, it's a platform when you can buy a domain name. Okay, for example, let's say Vanki Kataria Digital. Let's search for this. Let's see if this is available. All right, let's see if this is available. So is it available? Just let's wait for the page to get loaded. Boom, vankikataria.digital is available at this pricing. vankikatariadigital.com is available. Now I am interested in this domain name, vankikatariadigital.com. I know you might have heard about .com. .com is actually quite popular. Okay, so .com, there's .com, there's .in, there's .us, there's .pk. There are a lot of domain, a lot of these .coms, .ins, .us, a lot of varieties. But normally .com is very popular, and therefore a lot of people, a lot of businesses actually buy this .com. Why? For example, what happens is when you buy this .com, one good thing about this is a lot of people are aware about .com. So even if you say someone that my website name, my domain name is Banki Kataria Digital, the person presumes that it is followed by .com. Okay, or if let's say a lot of people normally use mobile nowadays. So let's say someone types in Banki Kataria Digital, and then they get a shortcut key, which has a .com written on it. So basically, it enhances the user experience. It makes life easy for the people to for people to come to our website, right? So again, I'll share my screen, and now as you can see, we're to a website where we are seeing vankikatariadigital.com is available. Now this domain name, what I can do is I can buy it on a yearly basis, right? For example, I'll pay $8.88 per year. This is the first year. Then again next year. So today is 19th of July, 2021 to 19th of July 2022. For this particular year, this space will be rented by me. So what is the space name? The space's name is vankikatariadigital.com. And what am I paying to rent this space? Well, I'm paying $8.88 per year to rent this space. So for this 1 year, nobody can take that space away from me, right? I can occupy this space, and because the space will be mine, because the domain name will be mine, I can do whatever I want to do with that particular domain name. So because this particular domain name is mine, This space is mine. I can build a website of any product or any services on that particular domain name, right? Because it's my space. I can, I can have any shop I want. I can sell any product, any services I want on that particular website. So now maybe you guys will be getting an idea as to what a domain name means. So Adeshi is saying you mean sir TLD. That's a technical definition. I'll just highlight this particular particular comment, which says Adeshi is saying you mean TLD. Now guys, a TLD is a bit more advanced term. So I'll put the meaning of TLD in the comment section. TLD means top level domain. Okay. Now I'll just highlight this comment as well. So what does TLD stand for? TLD stands for top level domain. So it basically means .com, .in, .us, .pk, .co.in. All these things are called top level domains. Why are they called top level domains? You can give a guess. These are quite popular. They're at the top, right? So these are top level domains, .com, .in, .us. Okay. So now maybe you guys are getting an idea as to what a domain name means and why you should have a domain name for your business. Because if you have a domain name, then you will be renting that space, you'll be having that space on rent, and you can do what you want on it, right? So these are certain advantages. Apart from that, there's one more important advantage of having a domain name. If you have a domain name, then you can have a business email ID. This is interesting. For example, if I have a business email ID, if I have a domain name, let us see what happens. See, normally if someone asks me what is my email ID, I'll share something like maybe Vanki Kataria at, this is not my email ID, okay? So do not send to this email. I'll just share vanki@gmail.com. This is not my email ID, okay? I'm just stressing again. So this Gmail comes into the picture, right? Now this is good enough for personal use. But if you're into business, if you're a professional, if you're a startup, if you're running a startup, then you need something professional, right? Just imagine you meet a friend, you meet a colleague, or you meet a friend, or maybe you meet someone after a long time, and they say, "What's up, man? What are you doing?" And you say, "I'm running a company. I've started a startup. I'm trying to build a company. I'm trying to do this sort of entrepreneurial stuff." And then the other person says, "Wow, that's great. What is the company name?" And maybe you say the company name is, for example, Kataria Digital. And then the other person says, "Oh wow, that's great. Could you give me a visiting card so that I'll remember you whenever I have something related, some work related to digital marketing?" And then I just have a look at my wallet and I say, "Oh, I'm afraid I don't have a visiting card with me." And then the other person goes, "Oh really?" In their mind, maybe they go, "Really? You are running a business, you are an entrepreneur, and don't have a visiting card?" I understand it's not mandatory, it's not compulsory to have a visiting card. I completely understand that. But that's normally what the other person feels, that if you're running a business, if you're running a startup, you should be having a visiting card. It is not compulsory, it's not mandatory, it is not necessary. But if you do have one, then it just puts a good impression that you're really, really serious about your business, right? Now, the same thing happens when you have a domain name. So if I get this domain name called vankikataria.digital.com, this particular domain name, then I can do one thing. I can create a special business email ID. Something like, when next time someone asks me for my email, I'll tell them the email at, for example, contact@vankikataria.digital.com. You see, there's no Gmail in it. Now this looks very professional. And you might have realized that in some domain name, in some email IDs, there's no Gmail, there's no Yahoo, there's no Rediff. And you were like, "Wow, that is amazing. It looks so professional, so neat and so tidy." It is because of the fact that the other person has brought a domain name. So if you are ready to take your business, your startup to the next level, then I highly recommend you to go check my link in the description, check my link in the caption, the title, and go ahead and buy yourself a domain name. Because once you do that, once you buy a domain name, you can make your website running, you can have a professional email ID, you can do what you want with the website. Because imagine this, just imagine what would you do if you have a space of office, if you have a space, for office, you could do normal, you can do a lot of things, right? Similarly, you can do a lot of things once you have a domain name. There's one small difference though. In the offline and online world, there's one small difference. In the offline world, let me come over here again. In the offline world, when you want to buy a space for office, you have to pay somewhere around maybe 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs, depending on the space, depending on the area, and depending on some other things. You might have to pay huge sum of money, a lot of money, to buy that space. Well, in the online world, that is not the case. For example, just imagine paying 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs, and then setting up the office and building the furniture and building the basically the architecture and all the other things involved. It actually asks for a lot of investment. But in the online world, all you got to do is rent a domain name. That's like buying a domain name. Let's say for a year, because it's like yearly buying is like it's like cheaper. So you can buy the domain name for, let's say, around 300, 400 rupees, and that's the only investment you need. So that is why online buying of renting, or online basically buying space for your office, and it's an analogy, it's a comparison. I'm trying to make things simple by giving these analogies. So you can basically buy this particular domain name for like 300, 400 rupees, and then you can keep using it. And then once the year gets finished, you can again just renew it. So I hope you guys had a good understanding. I hope you guys had a better understanding of what a domain name means. Or if you're not sure what a domain name means, now maybe you have a good understanding of what a domain name means. So I'll just go ahead and take that call. Bye bye guys. Thank you so much for joining in.